If you are listening to this, I know exactly where you are standing. You are standing at the edge of a crater where your life used to be. You are done with the healing contents. You are tired of the soft voices. You are tired of hearing about attachment styles as if you're dealing with a mismatched data. You are tired of well-meaning therapists telling you to set boundaries with people who are holding a canister of gasoline and a match. You cannot set a boundary with an arsonist. You can only evacuate the building. So, we're going to do something different this season. We are stepping out of the clinic. We are stepping out of the self-help aisle. We are stepping out into
Empowered
the crime
Shadows
scene.
podcast.
Because we need to be honest about the level of destruction you survived. What happened to you wasn't just a toxic relationship. It wasn't just family drama. It was a coordinated, systemic attempt on your life. Physical, financial, digital, and spiritual. Look at the evidence. This wasn't just a broken heart. It was the hacking of your devices. It was the siphoning of your bank accounts. It was the mysterious illnesses that the doctors couldn't diagnose because the poison wasn't biological. It was energetic. You didn't just break up with a narcissist. You survived a hit. Someone took out a contract on your soul. And the only reason you are hearing my voice right now is because the hit failed. You are the glitch in their plan. We are starting this season with the concept I call the turn. This is the moment you stop trying to understand them. You stop trying to psychoanalyze their childhood. And you realize that confusion you feel isn't accidental. It is engineered. They didn't just lie to you. They casted a spell.
The mechanics of the glamour.
Let's define the mechanics of abuse correctly. Because for a long time, you blamed yourself. You thought, how was I so stupid? How did I not see it? You weren't stupid. You weren't naive. You were under a glamour. In the old folklore, long before Disney ruined the word, a glamour wasn't about beauty. It was a specific spell cast over a withered, rotting leaf to make it look like a shimmering gold coin. It was a visual hack designed to make something dead look alive, to make something dangerous look like salvation. That is exactly what happened to you. Whether it was the karmic mother pretending to be a saint, or the predator partner pretending to be your soulmate. How did they cast it? They didn't use wands. They used data mining. They scanned you. In the beginning, when you thought they were listening to you, they were downloading your source code. They found your deepest desires. They found the wounds from your childhood. They found the specific type of love you were starved for. And then they built a custom avatar just for you. They projected those things back at you like a movie on a screen. So when you looked at them, you didn't see them. You saw the answer to your prayers. You saw the gold coin. You didn't see the withered leaf. You didn't see the rot underneath. You only saw the reflection of your own beautiful light, bounced back to you by a predator holding a mirror. This wasn't a honeymoon phase. We need to change our vocabulary. It was bait. And like any trap, the bait has to be delicious enough to make you ignore the steel teeth of the snare.
Cyber sorcery, the binding.
So they hooked you with the glamour, but how did they keep you? How did they maintain the spell when the mask started to slip? Through binding. In the old days, a witch might bury a jar in the backyard with your name in it and keep it close. Today, the tools have changed, but the ritual is the same. Today, they would put a tracker on your car. They would hack your phone, clone your SIM card, monitor your keystrokes. We need to call it what it is: cyber sorcery. The constant surveillance. The way they seem to know where you were even when you didn't tell them. That isn't just insecurity. That is a ritual of omnipresence. They wanted to become God in your life. And what is God? God is all-seeing. God is everywhere. They wanted you to look over your shoulder in an empty room. They used technology to create a digital panopticon. Do you know what that does to the human mind? When you believe you are always being watched, you start to watch yourself through their eyes. You stop being you. You become your own guard. They wanted you to self-censor. They wanted you to be afraid to speak, afraid to move, afraid to reach out for help because what if they're listening? And often they were listening. This invasion doesn't just disrupt your safety. It creates a psychological siege. It makes you feel like there is no inside and no outside anymore. It makes you feel like there is nowhere on earth where you are truly alone. That is not just capture. That is occupation. You were no longer a person. You were an occupied territory.
The trance state.
This explains the paralysis. This explains the shame you feel when people ask, why didn't you leave sooner? Let me absolve you of the shame right now. You felt frozen because you were in a trance. Dysregulation is a form of hypnosis. When they spiked your cortisol, terror, and then flooded you with dopamine relief, that is the formula for a trauma bond. But biologically, it hacks your nervous system. They put you in a state of hyperfocus on them. Think about how much mental real estate they occupy. Even when you weren't there, you were having arguments with them in your head. You were analyzing texts like you were deciphering ancient scripture. The rest of the world faded. Your intuition faded. Your bank account faded. The only thing that felt real was the monster in front of you. That spell was working. It was designed to offline your logic and your gut. It was designed to sabotage your survival instincts, to turn off the alarms, so they could feed on your resources without resistance. You were not weak. You weren't just numb. You were hijacked.
The glitch. Breaking the agreement.
Here is where the turn begins. It doesn't just start with a decision. It starts with a glitch. You are listening to this right now because the spell stopped working like it used to. Maybe they pushed too hard. Maybe they told a lie that was so mathematically impossible that your brain couldn't stretch to fit it anymore. Maybe you just got tired of pretending that the emperor was wearing clothes. Eventually, the reality of the abuse became heavier than the fantasy of the potential. The hypnotic rhythm broke. You looked at them, and for a split second, the filter dropped. You didn't see a soulmate, you saw a stranger. You didn't see a guru, you saw a con artist. That moment, that tiny crack in the glass is where the light got in. And once you see the crack, you can't unsee it. This forces you to make a choice. Spells require something to work. They require agreement, not conscious agreement. You didn't sign up to be abused. I'm talking about energetic agreement. The agreement to believe the illusion over your own gut. The agreement to play the role they assigned you in their script. The turn happens when you finally withdraw your agreement. It happens in a split second. It happens when you stop asking, why are they doing this? And start observing. Look at what they are doing. You move from victim to witness. The moment you become the witness, the spell begins to degrade rapidly. When you observe a spell without participating in it, it looks ridiculous. Suddenly, the word sorcery just sounds like a liar scrambling. Suddenly, the omnipresence just looks like a stalker with too much time on their hands. Suddenly, the powerful wizard just looks like a hollow, empty shell in a costume. You realize the emperor has no clothes. And once you see them naked, you can never fear them again.
The collapse of authority.
This is why the turn is dangerous to them. This is why the smear campaigns are ramping up. Because when you withdraw your agreement, you also withdraw your fear. Fear relies on the unknown. It relies on you thinking, what if I'm the crazy one? But once you identify the spell, once you see the wires, the hacking, the bait, the mystery evaporates. And when the mystery dies, the authority collapses. You stop seeing a giant and you start seeing a parasite. You stop seeing a soulmate and you see a script. You don't need to fight them. You just need to look at them with clear, cold, forensic eyes and realize, I am not the one who's crazy. I am the one who woke up. That realization is the shield they cannot break. That realization is the no. And no is the most powerful spell breaker in the universe.
Grief of the aftermath. The audit.
I want to be honest with you. The turn is not a celebration. The turn is a crime scene investigation. When the spell breaks, you don't just lose the relationship. You look around at the crater and realize the extent of the fraud. You aren't grieving a lost love. You're grieving a Ponzi scheme. You poured your time, money, youth, and light into an investment that never existed. The grief isn't, I miss them. The grief is, look at what they stole. You look at the years in the calendar that you can never get back. You look at the drain on your finances. You look at the damage to your nervous system. You look at the spiritual debt they left you in. That is the grief of time theft. It is the realization that the future they promised you was just a carrot on a stick to keep you pulling their cart. Is it bright? And it's harsh? And it makes you sick to your stomach? You realize I wasn't building a life. I was funding a parasite. So grieve, but not for them. Do not grieve the parasite. Grieve the years the parasite ate. Grieve the version of yourself that they cannibalized. Mourn the theft, but do not miss the thief.
The puppeteer, the invasion.
And this is where the grief clears. You are left with one of the most horrifying realizations of all. It wasn't that they lied to you. It was that they were piloting you. You look back at your movements over the last few years and you realize those weren't my moves. You quit jobs because they felt insecure. You cut off friends who loved you because they felt threatened. You spent money you didn't have to buy peace that never lasted. These were unnatural choices. They were decisions made against your own nature. They were decisions made out of terror. They treated you like a puppet. But the strings weren't made of thread. They were made of fear. The fear of their rage, the fear of their silence, the fear of their abandonment. They treated your energetic body like a voodoo doll. Every time they poked a needle of guilt, you danced. Every time they pulled a string of, if you leave me, I'll die, you collapsed. Think about all the energy you spent, all the creativity, all the focus, all the love that should have gone into your career, your children, your art. But where did it go? It was siphoned. It was funneled directly into the black hole of their ego. You were exhausted all of the time. Not because you were doing too much, because you were powering two lives. You were the battery, they were the machine. Another hard part to stomach is that the nature was simply non-consensual. I'm not talking about just the physical. I'm talking about spiritual rape. They entered your energetic field without permission, without consent. They used your energy for their fantasies. They used your empathy to feed their hunger. There were times you said yes with your mouth, but your soul was screaming no. There were times you twisted yourself into a pretzel, breaking your own spiritual bones just to fit into a box they built for you. That feeling of being hollowed out, scraped clean, and dirty, that's the residue of a spiritual violation. You were a sovereign being, and they tried to turn you into an extension of themselves. And that's when you learn they didn't want a partner. They wanted a host.
Sacred rage, the exorcism.
This is where the fire starts. This is why you're shaking. This is why you feel like you are going to snap. You aren't just angry because you were dumped, because you were cheated on. You are angry because you were occupied. Your body knows before the mind. That feeling of wanting to spaz out, that feeling of wanting to scream until your throat tears, that's not instability. That is your body trying to physically eject a parasite. It is the energetic equivalent of vomiting up poison. Let it happen. Scream in your car. Punch the mattress until your knuckles burn. Run until your lungs taste like blood. You have to get the energy of the puppet out of your veins. But hear me well. Do not give this fire to them. They are starving for your reaction. If you scream at them, they drink it. If you type out a 10-page manifesto, sending them to hell, they eat it. They feed on your dysregulation. It makes them feel powerful to know they can still pull your strings and make you dance, even if you're dancing in anger. Do not feed the parasite. You take that nuclear rage, seismic activity, that desire to burn the city down and turn it cold. Ice burns just as severely as fire. You don't just block the number. You become the void. You don't just go to the gym. You reconquer the territory of your body. Every weight you lift, every mile you run, every healthy meal you eat is not self-care. It is an act of eviction. You are scrubbing the fingerprints off your skin. You are hardening the walls of the fortress so they can never, ever get back in. Use the rage to fuel silence. Silence is the only weapon that cuts them. Silence is the mirror where they have to look at themselves. Silence is the only signal that the puppet is dead and the warrior has woken up.
The reclamation, the failed hit.
Let's look at the crime scene one last time. We know what they did. They cast the glamour to hide the knife. They spun the lies to lower your shields. They initiated the binding to keep you in place while they fed. The goal was never partnership. The goal was erasure. They wanted to hollow you out until there was nothing left but a shell for them to inhabit. They wanted to occupy your vessel until you ceased to exist. But they failed. Now look at you. Look at yourself. You are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still here. You are the glitch in their plan. The hit failed. And because the hit failed, contract is void. You are no longer a host. You are no longer a puppet. Feel the weight of your own spirit. You are sovereign. Stand in that sovereignty. But be warned, a parasite does not give up its host easily. We are walking the path from war to peace, from capture to liberation. But they will try to drag you back. Understand this. When they reach out, and they will, it's not because they miss you. They are trying to get you to come back into agreement. They're looking for a crack in the door. They're looking for permission to reoccupy the vessel. They want to finish the job. They want to finish you spiritually, financially, or literally. Do not sign the contract. Do not give them agreement. When they call you, do not answer. When they bait you, do not bite. You defend your liberation with your life. The hit failed. The glamour is broken. And you are finally free. I am Wolfie. Welcome to the resistance.